Good morning, friends. Today I'm painting a few cards. Easter is coming, and the cards you've seen me use in the past are these wonderful little watercolor blank Strathmore cards. I've used them for years and years. I love them. They are a 5x7 size approximately, and I'm not going to bend it in half quite yet. I'm just going to paint on the lower half because I don't want it to be popping up. And one of the things I love about them, number one, they've got a really good feel. I think better than a store-bought card. They feel quite thick and hefty. And they come with these beautiful envelopes with this deckled edge, which I really love. I've even painted on the envelopes before, but they're not really meant for that. So if you're going to also do that, just use very, very little water because they don't do real well with water. They're not made to be painted on. A few of my supplies, if you don't need the supplies, just fast forward. I'm using my Lang palette here. You know, my Paul Rubens My Lang palette is my favorite. And beginners, you just want to give them a quick spray so they get softened up. Not too much, you don't want any puddles. I'll be using my Mead palette. I love this palette. I've also got the smaller palette, but I've got some more earthy colors in there right now, so I'm gonna use my regular one here. The colors I'll be using, let me just swatch those out for you real quick, are going to be, let's get a swatch sheet here, use our handy dandy swatch stamp, which I love. You guys told me about that. And I actually need to get a new ink pad or re-ink it, I think. I've had that one for years, but let's see if it's working today. Ta-da, it's working. All right, so, oh, and by the way, make sure you've got your two containers of water. I use the Mead-in. It goes with all of my little Mead-in outfits. They're beautiful, clean, white. Although I do need to clean mine out. I clean it out once a week really well just to get rid of some of the discoloration. Easy to do, but you want your wash and your rinse. I've also got a little napkin here to pat my brush on. I do that a lot when I'm painting, so I've got that. And I'm going to be using my angle shader, my number 8 angle shader. If you were lucky enough to get my custom brush set that sold out last year, this is it. By the way, I've had a lot of you ask me if it'll ever be coming back. I did ask Craftimo. They said it might come out later, closer to fall, like it did last year. So thank you so much for that, you guys. So sweet, and I'm so glad you're enjoying them. So the color I'm going to be using, oh, and by the way, so fun today. We're going to be using we're going to be double loading our angle brush. This is such a beautiful little brush. I will also link for you down below a Princeton angle shader. They have that wonderful chiseled edge, and they're perfect for double shading. So what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to use a different brush. I will use my 8 round, and I'm just going to put some of my paint in here and show you which colors I'm using. So I'm going to be using Rose Red, of course. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous pink color. I mean, to me, that is just so spring. So that's the color I'll be using for my little tulips we're going to be painting here. And actually, let me show you the tulips we'll be painting. They are, I did a short on this. Let's see, let me find them here for you. Those were our wonderful hydrangeas. Let's see. Well, of course, I cannot find it right now, but I did a short on it the other day, and I know a few of you had asked me about it. The other color I'm going to be double loading my brush with is this beautiful pink and cad yellow. I mean, look at these two colors together, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I will also be using, I'm going to put in there my tree green, but I'm also going to be playing with the, so this is the tree green. I'm also going to be playing with the yellow green because I just think it's such a beautiful, beautiful color. So this is our tree green. Now we'll grab our yellow green, which is also a beautiful color, making sure I'm not going into, oh, I stuck my finger in my purple paint. I'm not going in loading my brush with the tip, the point, because we want to really give that tip some love. So look at these two greens. Aren't they gorgeous? Now, if I did need a little bit darker green for maybe some shadows, what I might do, let me mark these for you. So this is rose red, cad yellow, tree green, and yellow green. The last color I'll be using is in the Nature Series from MAB. I've really been enjoying this. I mean, look at those gorgeous colors. And the one I'm going to use today just for some of the leaves is going to be Hummingbird Green. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? By the way, I'm trying to make time to do one of my Friday classes. I haven't done them in a week or so, been so busy, and I want to use some of these colors in there. I mean, look at these. Isn't that just total hummingbird colors? So I'm thinking about doing that color in the hummingbird, but for right now, I am going to be using this for, look, oh my God, this has to be my very favorite green that she makes. I mean, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It's going to be so pretty with our leaves. All right. I'm kind of, you know, I love her mirror series. I love her gold series, but boy, I think this tree green is, or hummingbird green, sorry about that, is just gorgeous. The other thing I was going to tell you is if you want to get kind of a smoky color for those, maybe some shadows in your leaves, you can mix your tree green, let me just show you, with your flower color. If you've taken classes with me or been watching me for a while, you know I do this a lot, and it gives you this, when you mix opposites, which basically red and green are opposites, it gives you a beautiful shadowy color that still has, that pink is really vibrant, so you have to add a little bit more green. It gives you this beautiful olive green, but yet it's got undertones of the red or pink in it. So pretty. So those will be my colors I use. In case you screenshot, let me just give you the color of this one. I can't recommend that the Nature Series enough. It's so pretty. The great thing about MAB though, and some of you have asked me this, is you can order her colors separate. So if you go to her site, make sure she gave us a code. Code is Debbie10. You get a percentage off. You could just order this one and it's really reasonable. But look at that. Isn't that so beautiful? So fun. And then this is the shadowy color you could create. Let me show you it next to just a plain olive green. It's got so much more interest and depth, and it's got that bias of the red or pink in it. So pretty, you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to use my card here. Got my paper towel. Don't think I'll be using that 8 round. Let's go for I'm gonna set that aside, our brush here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to wet my brush. Now my water's a little bit dirty, but that's why we have wash, and then you always wanna rinse and just make sure that when you scrape it off, the water's clean. So wiping my brush, just gently scraping it off, and we're going to, let's go with our pink, which I've already got some in here, so I don't really need to add much more. You know, that pink I absolutely adore. It's one of my favorite colors in my laying. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of the yellow, the cad yellow in there. There we go. I've got a little bit of yellow ochre, so my yellow might be just a tad warmer than yours. And now here's the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that yellow first and just load the short end of my brush, just like that. No need to tap. And then the long end, the pointed end, I'm going to load with my pink. Here's the magic, guys. So I will start with the pointed side up, resting the side of my hand on my paper, and I'm going to line it up vertically and bring it down and around. Look, isn't that so fun? Now, I'm not even gonna load my brush again. Point, press, bring it around. Look how beautiful that is. If you really wanted to, you could tap into the bottom with a little more of our beautiful rose color. And just rinsing my brush. And I might just go up against that edge, pull it out a bit. There you go. Just feathering it out. But now before that dries, I want to go into my green. So I've already got some of that tree green in my palette here. So I'm going to grab some of that. Loading my brush. Tap, tap, tap. And this is a great brush for that chisel edge. So what I'm going to do is tap in a little bit because I want to get some of that green into my tulip. And the more pressure I put on this, the more it's going to widen. And there we go. That's it. Next, we're going to do a couple more small ones. And what I'll do on this is we're going to double load again. But this time I'm going to reverse it. So I'm going to put the yellow on the outside, the pink on the inside. I just tend to load the darker color first. That way I don't accidentally get it into my yellow. And then I'll use the tip of my brush, pick up that yellow. And we're going to create a couple small ones here. So again, the long point pointed up, pivoting my brush. Look at that. Isn't that fun that they're opposite? There we go. And I could go into the bottom here, but not really necessary quickly because we want to work wet and wet. I wash, rinse my brush, pick up some more of that green, tap, tap, tap. And I now go into my tulip here, widen my brush to get that wider brush stroke. That one's a little wider than I wanted, but that's okay. What I'm loving here too is these kind of blended together. So wash, rinse my brush. We're going to go for our last one here. And starting with the yellow first, I'm going in and going to dab in the tip of my brush, load it pretty well, and then the short end with that beautiful rose pink. And now we will do another one right here. Now that I had a little more paint on, so it's a little darker. There we go. Isn't that fun? The funnest part is coming though, you guys. We're going to do those long, beautiful, flowy leaves. So wash, rinse my brush, tap it off a bit, pick up our paint, tap, tap, tap. Go in just like we did with the others. Make our little stem coming down. Now the fun part. So these petals will kind of at the bottom wrap around your stem here. So what I'm going to do is come up here, press, and bring it in just like that. Pick up some more paint. Let me show you. Tap, tap, tap. We're going to do one here. Opening that brush. There we go. Now these stems really are, you could make them longer. All kind of depends. Play with it. Do another one right here. And I'm bringing them around, kind of wrapping it. One more stem. Maybe give that one a little curl by twisting my brush a tad. Pick it up again, and then we're gonna add in some of different colors. This is where we're gonna play with that MAB. So there you go. There's our fun, oh, you know what, we forgot the large one here. So I think what I'll do with that one, wrapping it around. Well, let's go right over this one. We're gonna put it in front. Could even have it sticking out, or you know what, since it's in front of this leaf, let's bring it right down. There we go. Isn't that so pretty? Like, you could leave it just like that and be perfectly fine, but we're gonna go a step further. So I just dunked my brush, lightly scraped it off, and I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit of pigment. So now I've got about 80% water, 20% pigment, and let's just create some in the back here, coming down. Maybe one coming out here. Just some light hints of them. Maybe one here, and you can, you know, twist these, kind of make them curve. Picking up a little more paint. Maybe a small one in the back. So this brush is so fun, you guys. I hope you get a chance to really play with it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in, grab a little bit of that paint, and just use that beautiful chisel edge, and we're just gonna create some little grass here, maybe coming up. There you go, just like that. You can even grab a darker version of that and go in. I think what I will do is wait for it to dry and then go back in. I'm kind of twisting my brush around. And now you've got this fun little line of grass at the end. So we're about done. The only other thing I'm going to do here, wash rinse my brush, is I'm gonna go in, and I work with these MABs quite thick. So I don't use a lot of art. Look at that. Isn't that so fun? I'm getting sloppy here. Let me wipe off my pan. And just picking up some of that. Oh, I just love it. I do work a lot thicker with this. And we're gonna go in, and I'm just gonna go over what I've already got here. So watch this. Ooh, it's like magic. I could play with this all day long. Let me zoom in a bit for you so you can really see that, because this color I'm just to die for. Let's do this one. Go really look at how the color and the pigment move. This is the kind of stuff I dream about, you guys. Now it is getting just a little bit dry, so I just barely add some. And we'll do this one here. Oh my gosh. I could play with this all day long. I just love this so much. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Maybe do some of those in the grass. Excuse me. And, you know, try and vary the grass a bit. Oh, so beautiful. We could do that piece right here. I'm pushing in with quite a bit of pressure to pick that up. I just want to do all the leaves, you guys. I can't stand it. Look at that. Oh my gosh. The other thing that's so fun to watch about this is when you do that, the way that pigment, that metallic moves is so beautiful. There we go. I think I should stop with just that. Now, what we could always do is go in and maybe add some little splatters with this green. So I'll just use my 8 brush for that. And you do have to get this a little bit more watery if you're going to do that. So you could use another brush to tap this on. And it just gives it a tiny bit more interest. Wash rinse my brush. And look what we've got. If you are good at calligraphy, you could go ahead and add in some, Happy Easter, something like that. We could even go in and add some little bunny ears or maybe little dots. Let's do this. Let's do some little dots of those pinks in the grass below. Just tiny, tiny ones. You just want a hint. Like there's little wildflowers in here. And there you go. All right, I am done. I hope you give this a try. So fun, and anybody receiving this card would just be so happy. All right, everybody, happy painting. I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being a part of my community here. It means so much to me, and I'm so excited about those of you that have joined me over on Patreon. We even have a free area there, and boy, what fun it's been to get to paint with some of you one-on-one. All right, I will see you soon. Happy spring. I'm so happy to start seeing flowers, and I hope you have fun with this. I'll be right here reminding you, you are an artist. All right, see you soon.